always our largest gathering, which I'd love to have every seat filled and have to be pulling out more seats for every lecture. But I think giving recognition to Alexandrians and those who study Alexandria is probably just as important or more important than actually doing some of the work itself. Because all the people that you're going to hear about tonight in the one organization, regardless of their age, and you'll notice in the program the biographies of the students 17 and 18 years old are longer than the adults who have lived a few decades longer. But that doesn't mean they also couldn't write pages of their own personal bios. This is a special thing in Alexandria to give these awards, and we're carrying on in the 51st year of the Alexandria Historical Society. I want to welcome all of you. Thanks, Vice Mayor Bagley, Councilman Chapman, for coming tonight. It makes it particularly special to have the city honor us. And many previous award winners are sitting amongst us. So thank you for being here and being the committee that made the decisions. We always take applications for organizations, individuals, for any part of history, research, preservation, archives, education, you name it. Let's recognize and understand all the work that's being done. I want to thank our donors for our wonderful awards tonight. I know they look a little, could I say old-fashioned? I don't know if on the list of I want gifts for high school students today are silver trays or silver cups. You know, probably not. And some people who got silver trays for wedding presents in the 1960s are probably trying to get rid of them, and nobody wants them. But we inherited in the Historical Society this tradition. And I want to thank King's Jeweler on King Street for providing the lovely Jefferson cups for our student award winners. And there's a little history card in about what a Jefferson cup is. And we hope you will enjoy your cup with pencils, staples, or any cotton balls, whatever you put in it. Definitely different than what President Jefferson, I think, put in his cups. And the wonderful silver trays have also been donated by somebody recognized in your program but doesn't want her name said out loud. So we are very thankful for King Street for being here all these years and making sure we always have these wonderful awards. Also, in addition, the students will also be receiving a check for funds to see them on their way as they move forward in their own careers and personal lives. So I'd like to invite Vice Mayor Bagley and Councilman Chapman to come up because we're going to change the awards. So we are going to put the T. Michael Miller Awards first and the Student Awards second. And Vice Mayor has a plane to catch. And so if you'd like to come up, we have proclamations that, did you know the City of Alexandria will provide these incredible proclamations, and they will be beautifully read by the people, our elected representatives. And it makes it, I think this makes a huge difference. So here we are. Okay. So however you would like to do this. Yeah. And so we have 3 honorees for the T. Michael Miller Award. And Scott, the awards chair, would you like to come up and say a couple words about the award? And we will have Carol Black come up, if you can stand over there at the foot of the stairs. Kristen Moon, Dr. Moon, if you can stand over at the base of the stairs behind Carol. And then we have the Archaeological Commission. Could all of you recognized on the commission come and stand behind? And we kind of have to do it this way because we're in a time schedule. So if all the Archaeological Commission people could go over there.
Do you want them to join us on the stage? Or?
Well, I thought one at a time.
One at a time, okay. As we read
since you're going to read one at a time.
John, can do handshake.
Thank you.
Do I need to speak into the microphone, do you think? Yeah.
Try it.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. And I do appreciate the awardees and everyone here for facilitating my schedule. My apologies. My plane leaves in about an hour and 15 minutes. So, but no, thank you very much. But I wanted to be here. That should be the underlying message, is that I really appreciated them working with me so that I could be here. Because in Alexandria, obviously, our history and the study of history and incorporating history into our lives is part of what we all love about being Alexandrians and how we've chosen it as our home. So this is a really, it's a beautiful award, and congratulations to each of you. And I'm going to dive in with the proclamation. And as we sort of reach each one of you, if you'd like to join us on the stage, that would be lovely. Thank you. Whereas the Alexandria Historical Society recognizes individuals and organizations who have made a difference in the research, preservation, and interpretation of Alexandria's history through its awards program. And this year it is fitting to acknowledge 2 such individuals and 1 organization whose bodies of work deserve acknowledgement and accolades, and they shall be listed accordingly. And whereas Carol P. Black, through her tireless preservation, advocacy for repairs to the Alexandria Elks Lodge No. 48 and Jones Point Lighthouse, and through building community connections for preservation, and through her service on the Historic Alexandria Resources Commission, has enriched the historical and cultural landscape of the city. Whereas Kristen R. Moon, PhD, through more than a decade of researching and sharing Alexandria's history and through publishing primarily on the city's African American and immigrant histories, and through co-chairing the Alexandria African American Heritage Trail Committee, and through her soon-to-be published book, Proximity to Power, Rethinking Race and Place in Alexandria, Virginia, has expanded knowledge of the city's past. And whereas the Alexandria Archaeological Commission, yeah.
Everybody put a finger on the award.
That's right. Whereas the Alexandria Archaeological Commission, through advising the Alexandria City Council for 50 years on the study, preservation, and education of the city's archaeological resources, and through its role as the first such commission in the nation. I'm pausing on that because I take such pride in that we were the first in the nation to create an archaeological commission. And through its vision to create the Alexandria Archaeology Museum and Alexandria Archaeological Protection Code, has made Alexandria a national leader in community archaeology, preserved hundreds of sites and millions of artifacts dating back thousands of years, and enriched the city with the protection of significant historical places, such as Tide Lock Park, African American Heritage Park, and the Contrabands and Freedmen Cemetery Memorial. Whereas the T. Michael Miller Award is given by the Alexandria Historical Society to organizations and individuals who have made a difference in the preservation, research, and interpretation of the city's vast, dynamic, and complex history. Now, therefore, I, Sarah Bagley, on behalf of Aaliyah Gaskins, Mayor of the City of Alexandria, Virginia, and on behalf of the Alexandria City Council, do hereby honor Carol P. Black, Dr. Kristen Moon, and the Alexandria Archaeological Commission. As the 2025 recipients of the Alexandria Historical Society T. Michael Miller Award in the City of Alexandria, and I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Alexandria to be affixed this 28th day of May, 2025, Mayor Aaliyah Gaskins. Congratulations.
Go ahead, go.
That one's
I'll pass it. Okay.
Do we want to get a big group shot, or what do you think? Oh, you got it. Okay, good.
Yeah, our journalists. Did you want to say anything else, or Brian?
You go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
So I just want to thank you again for including me, and I want to give each of the awardees an opportunity to speak, and if my colleague wanted to add anything to the occasion.
Again, I think the Vice Mayor said it well.
Brian,
this
go ahead.
particular community is
Seriously,
rooted
go
in
ahead.
history. We adore it. We support it. And so it's great to have residents spend countless hours doing this work, particularly for free. But with that free is sacrifice. You're sacrificing time away from other things that you might want to do. You might be sacrificing time away from family and friends. And so we are indebted to your work, in particular in preserving the history of this great city. So thank you.
I am bad on microphones. Can you hear me? As you can see, I've worked in the film business, and I don't see a band here like at the Academy Awards that's going to play me off, but I'm going to talk real fast. Okay. Now, I want to recognize and have them stand Harold Hughes, Arthur Miller, and Doris McMurray from the Alexandria Elks Lodge number 48. They're at 227 North Henry Street. It was founded in 1903 when the White Elks Lodge would not allow the Elks to join. They have kept this place going for 122 years. I'm going to get emotional talk about it. But please give them a round of applause. Now I want to recognize other people here. Al Cox, please raise your hand. Don't, okay? All right. Audrey Davis and Faye Winkle with the Black History Museum. It's because of their help that I was able to draft the grant application for this organization. I want to thank you on behalf of the Elks for the grant, for helping them with their records. Dadgummit, I wasn't going to let my voice break. I also want to thank Bill Dickinson and Gail Rothrock. If it weren't for Gail, I wouldn't have known how to do anything about Preservation Virginia or any of these other grants. I want to thank the Historic, stop a second. Historic Alexandria Foundation, see it came back after a minute, and also the many donors on Spring to Action who've given funds, and also for Preservation Virginia. When you ride by, see the poster, the big banner that says Preservation Virginia, most endangered historic place. It is. If you have any interest, please let me know. We'd love to have you become more involved in this world today where everything is so remote and hybrid. This is an organization about community, about service, and about resilience. And thank you again for this.
I too have thank yous, but I'm going to try to also keep it short. So first, my first thank you actually goes to Alexandria Historical Society, which not only am I thankful that you honored me, but also that I've been in your ranks amongst the officers. And in fact, I had to keep it together and not organize the room. Set up the chairs, the tables. My kids aren't hiding under the table eating M&Ms tonight. That's good, because oftentimes this was my childcare in the evening. So thank you so much. And particularly, I want to thank Pam Cressy. Pam Cressy took a chance on a junior faculty member at Mary Washington over a decade ago, and we've been stronger, or I've been stronger because of it. So thank you so much, Pam. See, now I'm going to get wispy too. I also need to thank my family who are out in the back, Howard, August, and Parker, who have supported me through all of this research and, quite frankly, humored me when I tell them all the great stuff that I learn about the history of Alexandria. My kids have been dragged to archives, to archaeological sites, to commemorations, and they still like me. And more importantly, they love the history of Alexandria. And that pushes me to my last point, and it's for all the young people here. The history of Alexandria is not done. We have more work to do, and it's up to you to take the mantle and make it happen. There are more stories to tell. We have new technologies in which we can understand the past, and they are amazing. And I hope, particularly the ones being honored and recognized tonight, that you see this moment as a chance to rise up and call truth to power about our past. Thank you so much. So I too want to thank the Historical Society for honoring the Archaeological Commission and all the 100+ commissioners who have been before us that have done 50 years of work in preserving and accounting for and in helping with the archaeological preservation of our town. Soon we're going to be listening to Dr. McGuire Nelson about You Are History. And I want everyone here to recognize how much history the Archaeological Commission works to bring forward and up out of the ground. And it is something we have done for 50 years and 3 months, actually, to the day. On February the 28th, 1975, people in Alexandria had revolted against what they saw in urban renewal on the 300 to 500 blocks of King Street. And they said, no, this is our history, this is our town, we need to preserve it. And out of that, a committee of 100 was formed. And those early leaders did the first thing that was ever done in this country, made a partnership between preservation, city government, and archaeologists to preserve what needs to be preserved within this city. Dr. Cressy was the first step in that process. And we, without her, would probably not be honored today, because it was her vision and her guidance that created the whole entire kit and caboodle, for lack of a better word. And we thank her. But the next thing that the commission did was advocate for the protection code. And that protection code enforces developers, for which we just have so many in town, that we are grateful that that helps us to see what is underneath our feet in this town, and to help us preserve and find them and keep them. So lastly, I want to also thank the people who Archaeology Commission, it's not lastly. I'm going to do a sales pitch. What is the commission up to now? The first thing that we put a lot of our effort in is we have a ship hall coming back in the spring of 2027. We are working tirelessly to find a place to exhibit that ship, aren't we, John? And if you want to see something that's actually very cool, the World Trade Center ship is virtually the same as ours, was found under the World Trade Center. It is going to be conserved by the same university, Texas A&M. It is being reassembled at the New York State Museum. And on their Facebook page, it is a fascinating journey as they talk about everything from how they're stabilizing, cradling, and getting ready to bring that ship to that museum. That is the excitement we would like to see coming to Alexandria. Because we've got the ship, and we've got the history, and we need to get a place. Second thing that the commission is working on, we are working on a nomination for the Wilkes Street Cemetery Complex. As best as we know, this is the only cemetery complex of religious, municipal, African American, and military cemeteries in the country. And we are working diligently to get that nominated on the National Historic Record. We are, we hope to be able to keep everyone informed of some milestones as they come along, but it's going to be a project. It's going to be a project. So lastly, I do want to thank all the former commissioners. Several of them actually are here. Those were not just all, we had some formers of him. I also want to give thanks to the Friends of Alexandria Archaeology. They are a partnership program with us, and without their volunteers, they actually fuel the Alexandria Department. And I also want to thank the Alexandria Archaeological Department. They are an incredible
resource, department, organization that has done more to bring archaeology to the forefront and are considered leaders in urban archaeology around the country, not just the commission, but that department. I'd also like to thank the generation is coming, because as Dr. McGuire Nelson will tell you, they are coming up and they will be the next generation of history. So get ready, kids. It's going to be your job. Thank you.
Now, you didn't know so many history nerds could be so passionate, could you? Totally electric when we hear our award winners speak, when we hear our councilman, vice mayor speak. Thank you very much, Mr. Chapman, for your constant interest and commitment to history. It belongs to all of us here, and many of us weren't born here, and that doesn't really matter. In fact, some of the original leaders in preservation came from outside and recognized what Alexandria had. Sometimes you don't realize what you have when it's right underneath you, and you say, oh, after I traveled, I came home. Well, if you're living here, if you're around here, or even if you're studying history, Alexandria is the place to come. Our records are saved, our voting records, our censuses, everything that you're crawling around today in the archives. She was dirty, she said before. She did put a dress on, crawling around in the archives. So we're going to move now to our student awards, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the proclamations given. I think it's kind of it's old-fashioned, but isn't it marvelous? It's got a gold seal and everything, and I hope you can frame them and enjoy them and put a drink of some type on your trays or hang it up, whichever you prefer. Our student awards, if you see in our program, when you look at our program, the Students' Awards have been going on in the Historical Society for decades. And that's because the founders of the Historical Society actually believed, just as each one of our awardees has said, history is really in future generations. It is not just in what is oftentimes old folks keeping up historic sites and doing research and things like that. It is the beginning of looking at what is the value of history and how can we use it even every day in our lives, and how can our thoughts about why history is important change even as we grow. How can we just be good citizens, good residents, and look at our neighbors as with the Elks Club and say, well, maybe I'm not a member there, but what is needed and wanted? How can we join together? And that's what Alexandria has taught me. I think with the Archaeological Commission, Eleanor, you're still here, aren't you, Breen? I'd like to recognize Eleanor. Was Fran able to make it? Fran, Eleanor. And Fran Bromberg, I think, was on her intention. Oh, Fran, you're here. Fran, oh, yay, I'm sorry. Please stand up. Fran. Fran Bromberg, our most recent city archaeologist. We seem to live for a while in these jobs, so we don't turn over as often. It takes a while to learn and very much commitment. Thank you for coming, Fran. I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. So a good staff is the backbone of any public commission, and thank you very much for everything you do. So let us look at the student awards, and you will see in our program, as I mentioned, the bios of the students are, well, I'm just intimidated reading them. I wasn't any of this in high school, and now some of it wasn't available, but even so. So we'd like to present the awards to each person and each teacher if they could come up here to receive the award. So Lindsay Schwartzman, could you come up, please? Yeah, either stairs, wherever, yeah, this is closer. Okay, Lindsay, is your teacher here?
I do not have my current teacher, but I have my teacher from last year for honors.
Teacher from last year. So. Yay! Thank you very much for coming. That's the best, when you keep in touch with your teachers for a long time.
Like second door down.
Oh, okay, even better. Okay, so Lindsay, it comes from Alexandria City High School, and she was not graduating today as our videographer was. So congratulations to you, sir. A graduate of Alexandria High School, and thank you for our media students always doing our videos, and you can see us on our YouTube station, so you can always go back and see what was happening at our meetings. Well, Lindsay is a junior and has been nominated by her social studies teacher, Patrick DeVille, described as a conscientious student who puts a substantial amount of time and effort into all she does. Lindsay also asks clarifying questions and seeks to understand how things work. Mr. DeVille expressed that in her United States Honors course, she has earned some of the highest grades on tests and quarter grades of any student in his experience. That's right. And for her National History Day project, Lindsay created a documentary of the Obergefell and Hodge versus Hodges case that legalized gay marriage. Mr. DeVille described how she successfully portrayed this event and what encouraged Obergefell to challenge in court his right to legally marry his partner. Described as a powerful presentation, Lindsay demonstrated her hard work and passion, exemplifying how important this case was to her. Lindsay has earned a 4.16 GPA as a junior and is enrolled in a number of honors classes. Here's your Jefferson Cup and our sincere excitement for your future. Would you like to say anything? Or your teacher could say a few words.
Firstly, thank you so much for the Alexandria Historical Society for letting me be here. I would like to thank Mr. DeVille, even though he's not here. Thank you, Mr. Levine, for showing up in this place. And this was a little bit of a surprise to me. I was not really expecting this, so I don't really have anything prepared to say, but thank you a lot to my teachers, especially starting since middle school. That's when I really started being more engaged and enjoying my history classes. Before that, it was kind of just reading textbooks, and I was kind of just bored. But after a while, classes started getting more interesting, and I found myself actually engaging with the content, and that's how I really realized, oh wow, I enjoy getting invested in these topics and learning about things that happened before. And even that translates into my personal interests outside of school. I like learning about random things that happened on the internet from 10 years ago. So I guess that just translates into my everyday life now. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So again, I'm not Mr. DeVille. I'm Mr. Levine. I was Lindsay's world history teacher last year as a 10th grader. But I can say that I echo everything that Mr. DeVille has said. I think Lindsay might be the only student that I've ever given a perfect score to throughout the year.
Perfect.
If not above 100, which I still don't know how that's possible. But yes, Lindsay is an exceptional student, and it was a pleasure having her in class. It's been a pleasure to just be next door to Mr. DeVille and then seeing her in class, and then I think just the presentations that you work on and everything that you do. So congratulations, and best of luck once you go out into the world.
Thank you.
Bravo. Here's the little box. Okay. Janie Cooper, could you please come up? Thank you. Thank you. And do we have, yes, thank you very much. Great. Kate Hardwick? Yes, hi. I'd like you to meet Janie Cooper, and from St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. And Janie is a junior and has been nominated by Kate Hardwick, the History Department Chair and teacher, as an outstanding student for this award. Ms. Hardwick describes Janie as an exceptionally gifted scholar whose intellectual curiosity, diligence, and deep appreciation for the written word has distinguished her. In her AP US History class, she has remarkable ability to think critically, research thoroughly, and articulate compelling historical arguments, whether in papers, debates, or classroom discussions. Described as a model of intellectual engagement, leadership, and empathy by Ms. Hardwick, Janie has taken a variety of advanced placement and honors classes in all subjects, earning Heads List every semester since her freshman year. Janie's extracurricular activities including contributing to Fire and Stones, the school literary and art magazine, where she shares her original poetry as a dedicated contributor. Her creative writing has been recognized with a Scholastic Silver Key Award. Her teachers have expressed that her work is of the highest standard and that she takes every opportunity to push her skills forward. Janie demonstrates the school's spirit of leadership and commitment to community as a leader for the Middle School Diversity Conference and Admissions Ambassadors Program, chapel choir, and a member of the school's Stage 1 theater program. Janie's passion for languages and cultural exchange has prompted her to pursue French and Chinese at the honors and AP levels and to immerse herself in international experiences through exchange programs in Normandy and Taiwan. Congratulations.
So first, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Hardwick for nominating me. You've been one of my favorite teachers ever, and you've just instilled in me such a love and appreciation for history and how it impacts our modern day. So I thank you so much, and I'm really going to miss you next year. And then I'd also love to thank my mom, because she's been my biggest support since day one, literally. And she's just always supported me in my endeavors. And then I would also like to pay tribute to the Alexandria Old Town Ghost Tours. I went on one of those when I was 8, and that really got me fascinated with our town's history. I've always loved ghosts, so yeah, that was a really influential experience. And I feel so honored to be here. Thank you to the Alexandria Historical Society for this incredible opportunity, just standing before all of you who have made such incredible contributions for so many years. It's really very humbling, and I can only hope to do some of the amazing things that you all have done. So thank you so much.
Thank the Alexandria Historical Society for all the work that you all do. We use the work that is done in the city, in our classrooms, and I think local history is so incredibly important. So thank you all very much for the work that you've done.
Thank you. Okay, now I checked with you when you came in. I bet I'm going to say it wrong. Kyra. I'm so, please. Kyra Lamprey, please come on. And her teacher is here? Yes? Yes, oh good, thank you. Thank you, I knew I was going to do that. It's like, most people think it's Kyra. I tried. Aren't you impressed by the teachers as well as the students? Yay for everybody who's teaching. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Charlotte Fryer, an American Studies teacher at Episcopal High School, has chosen Kyra Lamprey as a junior for this award, describing her as grounded not only in her exceptional academic contributions, but her sustained and deep engagement in creating a classroom community built on inquiry into the relevance of American history in contemporary life, earning her a cumulative GPA of 98.4, which gets translated into 4.34. Class discussions reveal Kyra's insightful participation and an understanding of the particularities and nuances of American history across multiple scales, from the transnational to the intimate. Kyra excels at drawing parallels between historical events and contemporary social issues, such as the impact of racialized policies on current communities and historical underpinnings of gender inequality. A recent research paper composed by Kyra addressed Black women's stereotypes in popular culture, specifically the intersection of culture and social relationships, exploring complex historical and cultural narratives. Ms. Fryer notes that every single one of her peers in class looked to her as someone who can make even the most esoteric subject in American studies useful, personal, and relevant. In addition to her academic achievements, Kyra is a passionate dancer and singer who participates in school dance programs, in class, and an afternoon option, in addition to dancing with a local dance studio. She is a devoted reader and a member of the school book club.
would just like to say thank you, of course, to Dr. Fryer, especially for her kind words. They're definitely overhyping me, but I appreciate them. And I also want to say thank you to my family. I wouldn't have such a deep love for history if it wasn't for the stories and memories I share with my family. And I would also like to say that I didn't know I loved history until I did. And my favorite part about it is that it's not just like the stuff your grandparents tell you back in the day. It's what's happening now. It's what's happening now and what's happening tomorrow and all the days after that. And I think that's my favorite part about it as well.
I will just say, as Kyra's teacher, it is so typical of you to be so humble and undersell yourself in every way. I wrote up the citation for Kyra before our process at Episcopal High School for different leadership. This girl is about to be a senior monitor next year. It's a very big deal at Episcopal High School. She's one of 8 students that are elected to this position. She's a monitor on dorm, also a big deal. Kyra is an incredible student, and I really do mean and want to highlight the part that I wrote there. Every single member of our class looks to her as somebody who can make history like relevant to them. She really excels at making history so much more than what I think many high school students expect it to be, a litany of facts about the past. Is this class going to be events and dates? No. And Kyra really helps, I think, other students understand that history is useful to them, and it helps them make sense of the present day. I also want to say that Kyra is coming here tonight at great personal expense because our exam is tomorrow. But she's going to do great. I know she already studied. That's it. Thank you so much.
And our last recipient is Cooper Guzik. Yes, Cooper, here he is. And Cooper's teacher, is your teacher here today? Yes, here, yeah, have to come up. I don't know why, but we've always done it this way. So we have to be a traditional, and I did meet you. So you have to stand here and be embarrassed to hear good stuff about yourself, okay? Marie Markison, government teacher and social studies department chair at Bishop Ireton, describes Cooper, who's a senior, and I guess graduating or already graduated?
Friday.
Friday, all right. Very close. Bravo. He is one of the most motivated, mature, intelligent, and analytical thinkers that she has had the pleasure of teaching. Cooper demonstrates a sterling work ethic, intellectual curiosity, and a love of learning. He challenges class discussion, seeking to understand the underlying causes, effects, and meanings of historical and political events. Ms. Markison notes that Cooper is quiet, confident, and convicted firmly, but politely, she did put in here, standing his ground in debate without being aggressive or dismissive of others. Cooper ranks in the top 10% of his class with a GPA well over 4.5. At graduation, he will have completed 10 advanced placement classes and received the honor of Advanced Placement Scholar with Distinction, an award granted by the College Board to students who show exceptional achievement in these exams and have an average score of 3.5 and above on all AP exams. Cooper is a member of the National Honor Society and Rho Kappa, the National Social Studies Honor Society. Volunteer activities include service with Wreaths Across America, assistant science counselor at Burgundy Farm Summer Camp, and participation in retreats. Ms. Markison concluded that Cooper is known throughout the social studies faculty as one of the most motivated, mature, intelligent, and analytical thinkers they've had the pleasure of teaching. Cooper excelled in the role of Speaker of the House in the Advanced Placement Government Congressional Simulation. Other activities include participation in track and field, short distance events, and high jump. Bravo.
Hello. I know she said I did a good Mike Johnson. I'm not a great speaker, so I will keep it short and sweet. But thank you so much, Ms. Markison, for giving me this. It's a bit of an honor, given that both of my siblings had her and they didn't get it. So Thank you to the Alexandria Historical Society. What they're doing, it's great. It's really inspirational, and I think it's really important for our community here. And so, thank you.
Can you tell us what's happening next?
Next year, I will be attending Virginia Tech.
Very good.
I also just want to thank the Alexandria Historical Society, and also want to put a caveat that your brother and sister were quite capable, especially because one is in the audience. But it was extra special and working hard in my class, so I really appreciate having you this year. Thank you.
So, how are you feeling about yourself after hearing those biographies, huh? We're feeling really good about the future. I'm feeling kind of small myself. I would love to get the 4 awardees, these students, together in a great debate with some of our other award winners and members of the community. Mr. Johnson here just got his master's degree. Bravo, another award winner. And there may be many others that I don't know in the audience that I have missed. So I would like to introduce you next to somebody that is not going to talk forever. We know that. That was a part of the deal that we had to agree on. And I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Darnella McGuire Nelson. And she says here, history is not only about the past, it's how we move forward in the world. You are history in the making. And didn't you just hear it? These people were making history and talking about the future, regardless of their age, and that's very, very exciting. It gives us great hope in the future. Dr. Nelson is a lifelong resident of Alexandria, and she serves on various boards and commissions, including the Historical Society, and both in her community and her professional capacity. She uses her platform as a haven for safe spaces, promoting policies and programs that maintain safe neighborhoods, transform communities, and enrich the lives of marginals and disadvantaged. So Dr. McGuire Nelson.
Thank you, everyone. I don't know how I let Pam talk me into this. I'm not a keynote speaker. I'm a conversationalist. So I'm going to talk to you like I already know you all. That's just how I do it. So first I want to say congratulations to all the recipients tonight. It really is an accomplishment, and thank you for coming out and being part of our organization. Tonight I want to talk to you about your history and not, give you any historical events, but your history and how you navigate your history. And you need to understand with history, you are history, be it intentional or unintentional. You are a part of this society, this world, and you are living history. Now, Webster defines history as a chronological record of events as of the life or development of a people or institution, often including an explanation or commentary of those events. I pulled 2 words out of that, explanation and commentary. Now, I don't mean to sound morbid or anything, but when you research people, you say a person was born this day and they died another, but they always have that dash in the middle. And that dash is important because that's your commentary and that's your explanation and your history and how you grow and mature and change during that time of that dash. So people may say, well, how do I start really getting into my history, or what do I do to contribute to society? I say start where you are, because you can bloom where you are planted. Remember that. You can bloom where you are planted. And so tonight, I just want to give you a few tips on how you can do that, and that's just from my experience. Be curious, ask questions. Janie Janie said, you know, her write-up, she asked clarifying questions. That's what I always did. I will ask you questions until the moon. You know, when you have kids and you ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they say a firefighter, a policeman, a nurse, or whatever. But put that kid back in you. That's your assignment, to put that kid back in you and be curious and ask questions. And then when you're at work, I remember in organizations, people say, oh, think outside the box. Well, imagine there is no box. And just think and ask those questions, clarifying questions. More and more questions will get you to where you may want to go. And so I don't want you to be afraid to have those organic conversations with people. And what I mean by that, dig deep into yourselves, not surface. The only way we're going to find out about each other and find out about our history is if we have those conversations. So I want to tell you about in 2017, I took my daughter to the U.S. Memorial Holocaust Museum. We'd already gone to the exhibit. It wasn't to see the exhibit. It was in the wee hours of the morning. We participated in a dialogue called Portal Conversations. And what we had the opportunity to do, we had the opportunity to meet with refugees from Syria who had fled their homes and were now in a refugee camp. And the portal was a repurposed shipping container. When we got to the museum, they let us in because it was closed, but we had permission, and they escorted us to this container. And on the other side, there were facilitators on each side, but because I have a big mouth, we didn't need facilitators. We jumped into the conversation. And so my daughter asked questions, do you go to school? Do you play? Things that children were asked, you know, and they said yes, and they said they had been in their refugee camp for approximately 2 years, and their pastime was soccer. So what we did is we found that we had more commonalities in that humanity, and we were hearing it from the voices of people who were targeted because of hate. So I say to you, be open-minded, don't judge anyone, and be willing to learn and listen. My next thing I want you to do is to be authentic and truly immerse yourself into your history. And when you do that, you will come out better on the other side. I had an assignment in my doctoral program from a professor who said to pick a group that you know nothing about, interview that person, have a conversation with them, eat authentic food, and go to church. I picked the Vietnamese culture. I interviewed someone, I had the food, I went to an authentic restaurant, but the scary part was going to church, so I took my husband with me. And I don't know how I found this church. It was in Arlington. And when I went there, it was so big, and everyone was speaking Vietnamese. I even saw some people from work. But what I did was I went in there, and the lady was like, you want to sit in the front? I was like, no. You know? I said, no, I'll sit in the back. So I sat in the back. So in the meantime, I had to go to the restroom to in the middle of the service. So I went to the restroom, and little did I know these ladies were following me. And so when I came out to wash my hands, they were ganging up on me, and I'm being nice, respectful. They were like, why are you here, right? And so I just smiled, and I told them why I was there. And once I did that, I just said, I'm here because I have an assignment and I picked your culture. And once I said that, they were like, do you like? I said, I love it. And then they escorted me back to my seat. They made sure me and my husband were okay. And so they were my protectors. We had communion. We just had so much fun with them. I said, can I have a program? Even though it was in Vietnamese, they gave me the program. But I say all that to say you don't know until you make yourself uncomfortable with history and how you want to move in life to really understand other people and don't leave yourself in a silo. And you all have said over and over again how you maneuver. You're already doing it. And so I encourage you to keep doing that. And with that assignment, every year I find a culture that I want to learn about. And so last summer I wanted to learn about the Muslim culture, and I went to a mosque with one of my coworkers, and we had a ball. We ate, we talked, we went to the schools. So I encourage you to step out on faith and be comfortable with making yourself uncomfortable as you navigate history and that dash in your name. And it's really important to listen to other people. As a lifelong resident in the city of Alexandria, I've heard numerous stories about things that have happened here. My great aunt used to talk about the cemetery that the mobile gas station, what is it? Yeah, the mobile gas station. I'm looking at Eleanor. And I used to hear her saying that there were graves under there, but I was little and I'm like, she is crazy. Who would be, you know? But she was right, and you have to listen to people. You have to understand these stories and where people came from. And I know he's tired of me, Councilman Chapman. His grandmother was my hairdresser, and I used to see how women negotiated and how they advocated for housing, at churches, just getting my hair done, crying because they were pulling my tangles out. But I still remember them negotiating, advocating, and setting up meetings for the betterment of the Black community in the city of Alexandria. And so I go on to say, listen, and take notes and journal. Talk to your elders, talk to your friends about history. I know I have an aunt that is almost 90 that lives in Hawaii, but every so often we do our Zoom meetings, and she said, where do you want me to start about my life? I said, wherever you want to start, and we do. And so we keep it going because we want to keep these things in our life as part of our history, and how you can be a part of your own history and propel that for a better society. I want to talk about Michael J. We call him Michael J. Michael Johnson, a former recipient of our award. But we are in the process, one of our committees, we're in the process of restoring Douglas Cemetery, and with the help of the Archaeological Committee, Eleanor. But I knew we had relatives buried at that cemetery on Wilk Street, and I couldn't find them. And I would ask my mother, and she would give me names. And I knew we were a Jenkins. And Michael Johnson called and said, Darnell, I need a name. What was that name? And I knew that on that tombstone there was a Reverend Jenkins. I said, we have got to be related. And for some reason, I called my mom, and she gave me another name. That's why you have to keep talking to people. A. Jenkins. I sent it to Mike. 10 minutes later, Mike found the connection and said that was the oldest person buried at the cemetery. And so just talking to people, no records at the time, and it's just amazing how things happen. And I encourage you, especially to the youth, to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be okay. During that dash, you're going to change, mature, and grow, and you're going to bloom. But most important, I want you to do it with integrity. You have nothing if you don't have integrity in your word. And that means you have to conduct yourself in alignment with your values and principles and doing the right thing even when other people aren't looking. And that means being trustworthy, reliable, and accountable. So keep on growing, keep on maturing, keep on doing what you're doing, but most of all, keep blooming wherever you are planted. Thanks.
You inspired me so much that I think my dash between the birth and death has gotten longer. So I'm going to make tomorrow even more valuable because of what you said. Thank you so much. Well, here we are at the end of our awards. I kind of hate to end, although it's good to go home now that it's stopped raining. But I hate to end because this is sort of an Alexandria moment, and I appreciate it. It's a time when we can be together, regardless of where we came from, what we do, who we are, and we can be here and say that we recognize and appreciate others. And we can see how much people do to help and expand our community. We're all doing this out of love, passion, commitment, all the words that you said, Darnella, of what matters to us. And, you know, I saw the spelling bee was going to start, right? And it made me think, you know, all the awards that are given, they're usually things that have finite amounts of time. And I can watch a spelling bee and see who finally can win. Football games, soccer, you know, everything is usually how fast you can do or how much you can do. It can be measured. And it's over, you can watch it. It's like, oh, the football game, I don't know, with commercials, maybe 4 or 5 hours. You know, they get longer all the time. But there's a time for it. Well, the Nobel Prize, maybe you don't get it for decades after you did your work. So that's longevity. But in history, as Mr. Chapman told us, it is often private, it is lonely, it is quiet, frequently dirty. Frequently, nobody else can understand why you're doing it, frankly. And so there's really not the award is really a reward to yourself. There's not really awards like this for history because it's silent. You might get your book published, yay, and some people will buy it. But I think this is really important that the founders of our society said, you know, let's give awards for the people who are spending all those times and hours doing something. And when we look at the commission, over 50 years and hundreds of people, the amount, I just know the amount of time we sat on our butts in meetings, that was big right there. You know, that was a lot of time. But the energy that goes into doing it, the staff time, et cetera. So I want to thank you for coming tonight and being as enthusiastic as I am about the people who have accomplished things and will go on to do more. The students have accomplished so much and all that you will do in the future. And I hope you all are teachers. And in fact, we all are teachers in our lives. As you said, Darnella, we are constantly teaching and telling others things, whether we realize it or not. So thank you for the Alexandria Historical Society for coming tonight. And bravo for all of us and history. Thank you.